And with me today, I have Mary Petto, who is not your typical healer. She's a former corporate executive turned transformational coach. She helps high functioning, emotionally aware humans break free from lifelong patterns of trauma, anxiety, grief, and shame, often in just one session. As the creator of Rapid Turmoil Resolution, Mary combines neuroscience, subconscious rewiring, and vibrational energy work to clear emotional residue at the root without retraumatization, endless talk therapy, or years of processing. Her clients describe her work as 90 minutes that changed everything. With a background in leadership at Merrill, Lynch, and DLJ Asset Management, Mary understands the high achievers' struggle of appearing fine on the outside while crumbling on the inside. Today, she helps others finally release the hidden emotional weight holding them back so they can feel free, grounded, and whole again. She's also the author of The Family Guide to the Law of Attraction and creator of the Quantum Leap Success Program, helping individuals and organizations create conscious transformation through mindset, energy, and science-based tools. So welcome to the show, Mary. Such an honor and privilege to have you here today.
Thank you so much. I'm very honored to be here. Very honored.
Oh, I love that. So, Mary, let's talk about your journey. So you were once in the corporate world, and um how did your journey lead you to create the work that you're doing today?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because it didn't start with you know, any particular issues or problems in my life. It
Mm.
started with a drive for professional success.
Wow.
And um I I worked in a corporate environment for a long time, and then I ended up just really quickly, I ended up in my young adulthood, actually not so young, let's call it early 30s. I ended up having to deal with like very bad anxiety, and my children were very little. At the same time, though, because I was a stay-at-home mom, I started my own marketing business. And in those years, it was just the beginning of social media. So I was a social media consultant. And all of my clients were transformational leaders, as they called themselves then. And
Mm.
they were all reading The Secret about the law of attraction. So, in case anybody's not familiar with that, of course, the general idea is you set your intention, you embody that vision, and then through the work of the neuroscience and the quantum physics, it does come back to you if you can manage that energy the right way. And the moment I read that book, I fully understood that not only do I have control, which released all my anxiety. I never had another anxiety attack again, but I realized that I used to live that way. So I used to run around just making decisions and having them show up. And I didn't know about vibrational energy or healing or any of that stuff. I would just make a decision, it would happen. I just thought that's the way it does work out for everybody. And I really wasn't actually too kind to people who complained or suffered or just kind of got themselves into patterns in their life. And I was a bit of a spiritual meanie. Um, but once I went down this path, I started going out coaching and speaking, particularly in corporate environments, about this vibrational intention thing, and that we really can just create the experiences that we want. It really did a lot to shift my inner turmoil, and just something released, some loop in me that had been stuck got unstuck when I made this shift. And it wasn't so, it was just like a point of interest for me. It wasn't that big a deal. But as I started going out, talking about this law of vibration and one's vibrational energy and how you can just bring these experiences into your life, I wrote this book, the book you mentioned, The Family Guide to Law of Attraction. And I noticed that people did really well when they could keep reminding each other when they worked sort of in groups. Uh, vibrational energy running buddies, if you will, where we could just keep reminding ourselves and getting into these stories. This book is all stories, right?
Mm,
Stories of a 9-year-old girl who made her bullies disappear, of a 55-year-old executive who thought there was no way he was ever going to move any higher in his company, but manifested this crazy set of events where ultimately he got an incredible, an incredible job and promotion. And it was all because they set their intention, they did this visualization. But throughout all these successes,
mm,
I would note who was not having success.
mm,
And people would come back to me still stuck, even though they were doing the proverbial work, right?
mm,
And what I realized was there was something going on in a loop inside in the subconscious mind that was keeping them where they were. Now, that just meant that they couldn't fully set a vision. They could not see a future for themselves. And
mm,
so as I went down this path to think about, do my research, how does one get into the subconscious mind where we can't just talk ourselves into things, right? Oh, just stop worrying about that. That's in the past. Just let that go. Be happy, be grateful, right? If it were that easy, we'd all be walking around just making incredible impacts in the world and being so happy. You can't. It's hard for some because that stuff is happening well below the surface. I like to call it a blip. And so I started discovering ways to speak to the inner mind while I'm coaching and integrate it with the conscious mind. And that released whatever blip that was. And the more I was doing this, and it's based on a specialty called rapid resolution therapy.
mm,
It was created by Dr. John Connolly. So while I was over here doing this kind of manifest what you want work, I started getting more and more into clearing some really many years long issues for people, trauma, PTSD, grief, even OCD, things that people were dealing with in therapy for years.
mm,
I was clearing them super fast. And I am not a therapist, right? You hear me, right? I'm a mindset energy coach. I
mm.
now also teach mindfulness because I find that mindfulness practice really that is the maintenance, that is the way of being. But I created this rapid turmoil resolution session just so I could talk to people and clear whatever's stuck. And even if they've never heard of the law of attraction or manifesting or your vibrational energy, life really opens up for people. And so just kind of word got out, and actually therapists started sending people to me
Wow.
because once that deep set trauma or whatever it is that is in that loop well below the surface got cleared,
Mm.
then the therapist could then really make a good impact and help them sort of reacclimate and re-navigate into a world without this turmoil anymore.
Beautiful. Wow. Thank you so much for describing that. And I just wanted to ask, can you actually describe what happens in a typical session and how it actually differs from conventional therapy?
Yes, actually, I think this is one of the most exciting things. And it's also the thing that makes people they just don't believe it, right? And we can talk about why people won't enter into a situation, even if there's happiness on the other side.
Yeah.
Um, so I like to describe a few things that differentiate it. Number one, in a traditional therapy session, as the client, you might be doing a lot of talking, right? Telling your story, what happened,
Yeah.
why you're this way, some of the uh, retrospective work you've been doing on your own, right? So you're doing so much talking. In my session, I'm doing all the talking.
Oh, interesting.
And yeah, so while I do need to like pick out some questions from you, of course,
Mhm.
I am doing it. I like to use the analogy that, like, if you came to get a haircut, I wouldn't give you the scissors and guide you, right? I would just take care of it for you. So that's the other piece of it too, is I'm taking full responsibility. Um, and I don't know, about everybody's therapy experience, but a lot of times people will come away thinking they haven't taken enough responsibility for their own healing, right? I take full responsibility. I take responsibility for your healing. I do the talking with just some pointed questions. And it is just a lot of me. Let's just say I use metaphors, I use story, I use breathing, I use mindfulness. I throw a little Reiki in there as well, Reiki energy healing. And
Yeah.
so, you just kind of come out on the other side of this feeling in the immediate sense. Everybody feels great. But here's the other thing that I do. I will keep checking in 48 hours later, a week later, a month later, just to make sure that what we've cleared has continued to last.
Mhm.
And yes, it usually does.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. So many survivors fear that actually healing means reliving painful memories. But obviously that's not the case with you.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Absolutely. So why do you think that talking about trauma sometimes keeps people stuck in the same emotional loop?
Well, I think because it could be you're just sort of reliving the pain. You're
Mhm.
re-traumatizing yourself, right? So, I like to think of trauma this way, and that is there is there is a stuckness where your inner mind believes that what happened, whatever is imprinted there, is still happening
Mhm.
or is about to happen or literally just happened, even though it happened a year ago or 20 years ago, right?
Mhm.
So your mind thinks it's stuck. It thinks it's still there and it's trying to prevent it from having happened.
Mhm.
It's trying to get you to stop it. That is why you're in a loop. And so now talking about it while you're stuck, while your body's in sympathetic nervous system mode to keep you alive, you're telling it again.
Mhm.
So you're just there's no getting it out that way,
Yeah.
right? You're just your conscious mind is now just kind of hammering it in further, making that imprint into the pillow stronger.
Mhm.
And so that is why I do not ask people to do that. Now, of course, we need to I like to ask for the headline,
Yeah.
right? um, I was attacked, or um, somebody abused me, or I saw my buddy blow up in a war when I was in the army, right? It's headline only.
Yeah.
Okay. Summary. Then I get to work. Then I start my work. And so I I so wholeheartedly believe that that's right. Now, that being said, we're not in the business of this to make you forget, right? We're not trying to numb it away. As a matter of fact, my goal is for you to be able to tell the story,
Mhm.
but from a place of neutrality.
Okay.
And that the reason I feel that way is because where you are now has to do with this happened and this happened and this happened, right? We're not going to erase that, but you can use it now as power
Mhm.
to create impact in the world. Tell your story, help others. Turmoil really thrives in isolation.
Mhm.
So people don't like to talk about their trauma. They don't like to tell their story again. But when we hear other people's stories and we can align with it a little, it already starts to lighten our load because we're like, hey, there's connection here. Maybe there's somebody I can talk to about it that understands. And now what the other person has is the ability to tell that story from a neutral place without being in pain. And now you're sharing your story.
Yeah. Beautiful. Oh, thank you so much again for sharing that. So what's actually happening then, subconsciously, because that's obviously where the real change takes place. So can you actually explain how um the subconscious actually stores emotional pain?
Yes. Okay. So, and this is, and again, I hope this gives any of your listeners who are suffering right now,
Mm,
who are stuck or, managing turmoil or a preoccupation. Three people can go through the same situation and come out completely differently in terms of any impact whatever happened now may have had on them, right? And so, for instance, if there are three men online at the bank and a fourth person at the end of the line starts carrying on like a lunatic and pushes them all really hard, and they all fall aside and fall down and hurt themselves. One person can stand up and just start screaming obscenities at them and push back and start a fight. The next guy can go, oh my gosh, I was already having a bad day. Like, woe is me. Why does everything bad happen to me? I just wanted to get my money. And the third man might go to the man who started the trouble and ask him if he's okay and ask him if he needs support. And so you have three different responses to the same event. And that's a demonstration of how our sympathetic nervous systems wire things differently depending on what meaning we've started to apply to things. And the meanings that we apply to things all have to do with the cause and effect of all the experiences we've had, our genetics, the environment we grew up in. All of these things create completely different reactions. And so the first thing that I really want the takeaway to be here is that the cause of the first reactive person's anger can't be the person who acted out, because he acted out to all the other two as well, and they didn't have that reaction. So by the laws of cause and effect, that couldn't be the cause, because it would have been the effect on all three of them. So what's happening is just the way mind is interpreting what happened, right? It is the way everybody's mind operates fine. But if there's a blip in the way it's processing the information, that's what we have to remove. And so if I punch a pillow, the pillow has the mark, has the hand imprint, but it's not there anymore. But that imprint might make the pillow think, I'm being hurt, I'm being hurt, I'm being hurt, because the imprint is there. So we just have to get that imprint out, get that blip out of the system, and then everything, all energy goes to where it needs to go. So the sympathetic nervous system's job, its prime directive, is survival. And any meanings or stuckness that it interprets as a threat, it's going to drain the body of all the things that it uses to thrive, to bring energy, right, to the legs, to run for flight, or to the jaw for anger, to attack. But once the blip is gone and the meaning behind things has been removed, that sympathetic nervous system doesn't hear a threat anymore if something similar is happening. So there's lots of power, right? Imagine the possibility that your current suffering is not because of something that happened, but the way mind is processing the information about what happened. That gives you a lot of power. because
Lovely.
you can't change what happened, but
No,
you can certainly clear a blip.
you can.
Let's clear that blip. That everybody's got different blips. Let's clear that out. And then you're thriving again, right? Your parasympathetic nervous system is back in action, and your physical health improves and your outlook improves and your resource, and you can be creative and strategic and content again.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think that's fantastic advice there. So, how can my listeners actually begin to work with their subconscious mind in their everyday lives?
Well, this is what I recommend. And actually, this is what if you're not going to come see me, right? But you want to be able to be fully resourced
Yeah.
and not preoccupied with the past
Mm,
or imagine stuff about the future, right? You want to be fully resourced. Mindfulness really is an incredible answer. And it's an easy skill that all of us, no matter where we are, how old we are, what our experiences are, we all can cultivate the skill of mindfulness. And again, this is what I bring into companies, mindfulness programs, mindset training, because how we come into any environment using our advanced minds, I like to say this, we're part of the animal kingdom, but we have an advanced mind. So the parts that make us similar to the zebras and the bunny rabbits and the lions
mm,
and the birds is our sympathetic nervous system and our parasympathetic nervous system. But the thing is, if a bunny rabbit senses threat, let's say from a nearby wolf, it blows up that image of the wolf. All systems go to legs, right? There's no seeing, it doesn't stop to eat a carrot while it's running from the wolf because your sympathetic nervous system doesn't want you to be confused about the threat, right? You got to run.
Yeah.
But the beauty of what the rest of the animal kingdom has is that once the threat is gone, they don't remember, right? They're not preoccupied with the wolf. They're not thinking about it anymore. They're back to eating the carrots and playing and doing all those cute things that bunnies do. And if you were to ask it, right, like, oh gosh, or talk to them like, you barely made it past that wolf. They'd be like, what are you talking about? What wolf? Where's a wolf? But we have these advanced minds, which are, it's beautiful, right? We can build bridges, we can tell stories, we can remember, we can be creative, we can do all this great stuff. But because we have data coming in also from the past and worries about the future that's imagined, that's when everything gets messed up. And so in your job, if you come into your job or come into a client-facing situation, let's say you're a law enforcement officer, right? And I have done a lot of work with law enforcement officers and veterans. We want our law enforcement officers, right, to be fully resourced. We want our dentist to be fully resourced, right? Not worrying about the argument that she had with her husband in the morning while she's drilling into your mouth.
Yeah.
Mindfulness is the answer to be fully present. The definition of mindfulness is non-judgmental awareness of
Mhm.
your moment-to-moment experience.
Yeah.
And so if you find yourself ruminating or getting emotional about something not actually happening, or just reminiscing and getting angry about something, if you can snap into your mindfulness practice, so much comes to mind, right? The gratitude starts to come in, presence of where you are, grounding into the moment, hearing people, problem solving. And I think that if you are dealing with a lot of emotional turmoil, or you are stuck and preoccupied or caught in these loops,
Mm,
right? Even if it's, I can't believe you this is so common,
mm,
right? You have an argument with somebody,
mm,
and as you walk away from that argument and you start looping,
yeah.
how dare they? Or worse, I should have said this, I should have said that. And it doesn't stop, right? And you realize that people talk to you, you're saying, wait, what did you say? a lot because you're so caught, you're so stuck
Mm,
in this loop about an argument you had with somebody that you cannot be present.
mm.
So mindfulness practice clears the loop. As a matter of fact, if it's okay to mention this, I have a little gift
Yeah.
for your listeners, and it's called the Loop Locator.
Okay.
And so like if you've been spiraling in anger or grief, heartbreak, whatever it is, your nervous system isn't sabotaging you, it's just stuck in this loop. So this guide helps you find where that loop lives and what to do about it. And it will help you find the signal that your mind's been replaying and show you how we can clear it together.
Oh, lovely. That'll be nice. Yeah, absolutely. So how can they access that?
So you go to this address, which is portablevisions.com/gift.
Ah, lovely. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah. I can add the link in this episode as well. But
great, great.
yeah, thank you. That's great. So, and you often say that I'm fine is really code for I'm stuck. So, what are
Uh-huh.
some signs that people may be holding emotional residue without even realizing it?
Um, it's well, the first signs are things like, as I was describing in the beginning, when I was just trying to help people, visualize a future or, start saying some affirmations or statements that allow somebody to just really embody what they want when they can't. And there's a yeah, but at the end of every sentence.
Mm,
That is a sign that there is some leakiness. And the thing is, people say fine all the time, but
mm,
if you were to like make some serious eye contact and go, no, really, I want to know how you are,
mm,
and you start getting the answers and other people overhear it, again, like I think I'm circling back. I'm in a loop. I'm circling back here because once we stop saying we're fine and can just tell somebody there's something going on,
mm,
and then somebody else is talking to you about it,
mm.
it's a temporary but really powerful um, beginning of clearing.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, that turmoil, it just thrives in isolation.
Mm.
And um, but we were can we tell some BTS that you were having some issues with your computer today?
Yeah.
And I think this is the best way to say it, right? You've got a great laptop. By you, I mean everybody. I'm talking to
Yeah.
everybody. You've got a great laptop,
Hmm.
and you've been, like tooling around, and suddenly it's like slowing down, and everything takes extra time. It's not processing correctly,
Mm.
and you don't get it because by the looks of things, it's fine. But why is it slowing down? And then later you realize that one of the tabs you had open
Mm.
was using your camera,
Yeah.
or it's running a video, but it was muted, so you didn't know. And
Mm.
when you realize it and you close that tab, now everything, the operating system is really thriving.
Yeah.
So was it fine? Yes, you could still do your work, but once you close that loop, that leaky energy, all of that energy now has gone to where it needs to go
Mm.
for this operating system to thrive. So it's
Mhm.
really important that, and this is another reason why people will reach out to me, right? Sometimes, and it's a good thing.
Yeah.
They don't feel like their issue is, air quote, worthy
Mhm.
of starting to see a therapist, right? Well, I don't really have a trauma and I don't really have like a significant problem here. I'm just flatlining. Something isn't right. I'm just unhappy, right? That is reason enough to locate this loop and clear it.
Mm. Beautiful. Thank you. I love that. And why do you feel like even after years of therapy or self work, as a lot of people may still struggle to feel joy and inner peace?
again, I think it's that stuckness and that part that they're
Mm,
not even aware is
yeah.
stuck.
Yeah.
And that's why, we can journal and self-reflect and
Mm,
try to figure out, where something comes from, try to feel, release any shame, shame,
mm,
blame, pride, guilt, grief, all these things. They're really just, they've been presented to us in a way from the very early beginnings.
yeah.
And that meaning is stuck, right? So I like to say, where did you play with sand to make sand art at all when you were a child, or see children do this where they
Yeah.
have access to the sand of all these colors, and right, you keep bill stacking all these pretty things. When we're little, those who care for us use shame
Oh,
and guilt to get us to behave, right? Now
yeah.
it's not like they're evil or something, but I'm very disappointed in you, right? And we
Mm,
associate in our minds, that comes associated, that we are going to feel bad, and the person who brings us food and cares for us could potentially abandon us. That's a sympathetic nervous system's directive to survive, saying, oh no, if this person is unhappy with me, they might leave me. So I have to behave or else I'm going to die. And,
mm,
that we're not, when we are 2.5 and 3 years old, obviously we're not having a conscious thought process like that. But our inner mind is hearing that. And that's why we start learning how to behave, right? Or what not to do or whatever. But that's the red sand at the bottom. And even though as we get older, we know that being good doesn't equal being happy and lucky in life, and being bad doesn't mean you'll be punished forever, right? We see plenty of people drive by in limousines with lots of money. It doesn't mean that they're good people, right? And
mm,
yet, there's also people suffering in the hospital. It doesn't mean they're bad people. So we grow up, our conscious advanced minds know these things, right? That, good, bad doesn't necessarily relate to your lot in life or your ability to survive.
mm,
But that red sand is still there,
mm,
that red sand. So that's why we experience things like guilt. That's why we experience things like shame. And that is a very big part of what I end up working on and through with people in a session,
yeah.
because it's stuck down there and we've got to get it out. I can't remember what your question was, but I hope I answered it.
Absolutely. No, yeah, no. You said that. Yeah, it's just obviously regarding how a lot of people, even though they've done all the work, then later on in life, they may still struggle to feel joy and peace.
Yes. Yep. So we get that blip out with how that
Mm,
mind is processing that information.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. And so obviously we know about energy and the role that that plays in the body, and because a lot of your work is around vibration play in emotional healing. And so how does that look like in a session?
Um, you're asking, how does our
Like,
physical health play into this?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So this is actually quite incredible. Um, People will come to me, and sometimes, my work ends up being a little more, let's say, Reiki heavy, more of the energy healing piece.
Mm,
And people will come to me, let's say, in distress. I had one client who came to me. She was so terrified that her husband was going to leave her.
mm,
And so she was just upset all the time. And she wasn't, she wasn't, obviously, you're not asking me to change your husband's behavior. You're asking me to change your own reaction, this teary-eyed stress loop that you're in around any meanings you're tying to your husband's behavior. And so we cleared that stuckness and that piece of that energy that was um, down there attached to whatever, just because he's angry that you didn't clear the sink doesn't mean he's going to leave you, right? But for whatever reason, there was some stuckness in there that was associating the anger about dishes in the sink to abandonment. And so we did that clearing work, and she called me a few hours later to tell me, she said, Mary, I didn't even express this to you, but I have a chronic pain in my lower back because a surgeon botched a surgery I had on
Mm.
my uterus 10 years ago. And I've been living with this pain and it's gone. And when I did my check-in a week later and a month later, it was gone.
Yeah.
And so where we hold tension, and this is, at this point, it's common knowledge, right? That stress could beget physical conditions, heart disease, right? All kinds of things happening to our bodies.
Mm.
And, the same can be said the other way around, right? We can suffer with something physical or an injury, and it starts affecting our emotional body, right? Depression sets in with pain and all these other things. So the physical body, the emotional body, and the spiritual body are all working in the same energy centers.
Mm.
And that's why, chakra systems and energy systems, they're so interconnected, right? And it's interesting because if you consider all these things that I bring into a rapid turmoil resolution session, it
Mm.
is really a culmination of three modalities. We have energy healing, we have mindfulness teaching, and then we have rapid resolution therapy. But they all circle around this concept of we are molecular beings with electromagnetic frequencies in our body, and they're firing off for different reasons. It's all in the name of survival, but we want to get everything balanced
Yeah.
so that not only are we content and resourced, but our bodies are in restorative mode. That's what the parasympathetic nervous system is about. And so if you come to me for Reiki, usually people will come for a physical healing. It's very, talk about, you could just lay there, right? And I do it remotely too. And
Yeah.
and that's the thing about, this vibrational intention and energy. You don't have to be physically present. My rapid turmoil resolution sessions are virtual, but my Reiki is as well. But
Mm.
you're really, you're so passive, right? And you can handle it that way. Mindfulness, as we talked about, is, you're proactively doing your work just to keep coming back to present,
Mm.
training the mind to not be stuck in the past or worried about the future. And then a rapid turmoil resolution session is me doing the work. You've handed me the scissors for the haircut, right? So that I can really get to the stuckness where conscious conversations, which is what you're having in therapy or what you keep talking about when you go to groups and things like that, or, you're journaling about it over and over again, right? None of that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to get down in there and proactively remove whatever this is.
Oh, lovely. Oh, I love that. Thank you. Thank you. So, what's one powerful belief or practice that you wish every trauma survivor could embody today?
Yeah, I think that's it. And, not to be redundant, maybe I'll say two things. Number one, if you can start thinking about what's happening with you
Mhm.
as a blip in the way mind is processing information,
Mhm.
rather than looking to the cause and effect of what happened,
Yeah.
right? That will start to shift your reflection of the potential of healing, right? Oh, it's not what happened. It's just the way this is processing. Let me go get this thing out, right?
Yeah.
Like going to fill a cavity. or, maybe getting a tonsil removed. Let's just get this, but it's much more pleasant and even enjoyable, right? But if you start thinking that way, that it's just, I've got to, the flour got sticky in the sifter when I was trying to bake a cake, so now nothing's getting through, right? That's the stuckness. Think of it that way. And it starts to give you this power of the potential that you're going to be healed.
Mm,
And the other practice you can bring, of course, is learning about mindfulness, finding a resource that you can learn mindfulness exercises, because that is medicine. It's mindfulness is medicine.
mm,
Come back to center, make peace with where I am right now so I can see things and be non-judgmental about whatever's happening right now, fully present.
mm. Beautiful. Thank you, Mary. So where can my listeners find you and your books and work with you?
Yeah, so thank you. My website is portablevisions.com. If anyone wants that loop locator, it's portablevisions.com/gift.
Mhm,
You won't find that in the navigation. That's just
mhm,
for you guys. The book, The Family Guide to the Law of Attraction, is on Amazon. And it's very light. It's ages 9 to 99. And no, it's not about trauma, but it certainly is about our power
yeah.
to create the experiences that we want to have in the world. And it is the beginning of finding light and fun in how we work in this sort of quantum field, or God or spirit of the universe, how it all works. It
Mm,
really is a very fun book. Thanks. Portablevisions.com.
beautiful. Thank you. And I will be dropping the link in this episode. Thank you so much, Mary. It's been such an honor having you on and just sharing your amazing insights and knowledge and expertise. And I absolutely love the work that you're doing and the lives that you're changing. It's so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. I really enjoyed talking with you.
Beautiful. So that's all we have time for today, my amazing listeners. I hope you enjoyed the show. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Stay blessed, my friends.